Welcome back to the Morning Show here on the Raj News. I am Adesua Omorwan.
And I'm Rufai Oseni.
Entrepreneurship and employment have been tipped as the panacea for successful economic growth. In Lagos, the case is peculiar, with a population of over 20 million. Empowering residents is key. Joining us now to discuss this is Teju Abisoye, Acting Executive Secretary, Lagos State Empowerment Trust Fund, to look at the role of the fund. Welcome to the show.
Oh, it's good to be here.
Great to have you.
Hi, great to have you, Teju. It's a joy having you.
That's good to be here.
Let's just go straight to it. What is LSETF? Because a lot of people look at it from like something from really far off.
Oh, great. Okay, so at the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund, we were set up in 2016, basically to address the issue of youth unemployment. And we've done that through three strategic pillars. One is supporting the entrepreneurial ecosystem. The second is giving people skills they can use to work. And the third thing is where we support technology, innovation, the ecosystem, so that people can do things in a new way, scale them through tech and create jobs in the whole process. At the same time, we support that ecosystem, the whole thing, making sure that we help people solve problems they can have with government, MDAs, agencies, so that there are no barriers to doing business in Lagos State.
25 billion naira was set aside for this fund.
Yes.
How much has been disbursed so far, and what has been its impact, really?
Okay, so we've been capitalized up to 10.1 billion as of today. Okay. We've supported over 10,200 businesses, and we've disbursed over 7 billion in loans to entrepreneurs, to businesses. We've used money for other things, which includes, so when we give you a loan, we do much more than giving you just the money.
What do you do?
Capacity development. Okay. We do business advisory and support to such businesses. We make sure that we do promotions, match you to markets. We create linkages. And like I said also, we're also supporting people to get skills that they can use to work. So where there's shortage of skills in the system, people have gone to neighboring countries to get skills in construction, healthcare. What we've done now is bring international standards to certification for artisanal skills. So we do this in different industries in Lagos State. And today we've done about 4,000 people in skills, and we've placed over 50% in sustainable jobs.
We're doing 4,000 people in skills. How? I mean, what are some of the skills, and what has been the knock-on effect on the economy of the state? I mean, we'd just like to hear all of it.
So according to the National Bureau of Statistics, as of last year, while the national unemployment rate was growing, Lagos State has been able to reduce unemployment and underemployment by over 6%. Now, this is not just, obviously we attribute it to not just LSETF, but a lot around the government spending, which then helps us to show that what direction unemployment, we can see that impact in unemployment figures generally in Lagos State. And so let me explain the modalities. What we do with the employability skills is that we try to find where people are looking for people to work. So we use a supply and demand method, where we then know what the demand is, then we supply the skills. So we do this in construction, in health, we do this in entertainment, in hospitality sector, of course, creative sector in general, and then see how we then give people international standard skills that they can use to work in the market.
Well, I'm sure you have turned down applications. What are the challenges? What do I do wrong for my application to be turned down? What have you seen so far?
So mainly for us first, we need you to be we have different buckets of programs.
Okay.
One, we want you to be an existing business and formalized for you to access up to 5 million. If you're not formalized and you apply, you're definitely not going to be accepted. You go through an interview process, verification process. It's quite rigorous, but we try to keep it as simple as possible. If you're a honest business, there's no reason why you'll be rejected. But for us, at the end of the day, again, primarily what we want to see is how you're creating jobs in the economy. So if you're just a one-man shop, you're not intending to do anything else but just increase stock. You're not as interesting as somebody who wants to open a new branch, who wants to do much more. That would mean they need more hands. That's very important to us, that jobs are being created at every time you get access to the LSETF loans, which are actually done at subsidized rates. So we wanted to make sure that you're actually meeting the objective of the fund, which is to be creating jobs.
I want to interrogate you further now. What's your definition of the business has to be interesting?
So interesting to us is basically that you are creating jobs. That's what we mean. Like, so if
but
you
isn't that limiting in itself? Because if I want to start a business as an SME, small business, my initial plan necessarily does not have to include opening branches. It's just, getting employed, getting something to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Isn't that limiting?
So we have a program that is focused on enterprise startups. So if you're starting, we just don't, our risk is lower. We don't give you as much as somebody who's already existing and is about to take on more people.
Well, how much do you have for those ones?
So we have a maximum of 250 for people who are just starting. So what we say is, it's just we just want to know that you are going to be employed, basically, when you start. And now some of those startups have actually done very well. They've gone beyond employing just one person themselves and employing more people in their business. So we do have a program that is actually tailored to cater to people who are just starting as well. Very, very important, because we understand that a lot of people are still not there, but we want to give them the opportunity to start something. So we do have that.
All right, we have a couple of floats going on, and they'll be seeing some of your stats. What has been that sector from your analysis? Because I know apart from giving out loans, you also have quarterly reports or yearly reports, and these are based on the research you've conducted and the feedback from people you've given loans to. I mean, what are those sectors that can tip the economy? Straight off the bat, I have some in my head. I know the real estate sector can do well, but the creativity sector is also very strong, and that segues into Lagos Innovate. So can you talk us through all of that?
So yes, we agree with you. So there's some sectors that are doing better with job creation. Creatives is one, and of course, technology is another. So I'll use an example, Paga, for example. In the last 10 years, they've created over 600 direct jobs, at least 17,000 indirect jobs through the agency. So what we say with technology is what you can do, you can increase how you create. So while a small business can be doing 5 people, with technology indirectly, you can actually be employing thousands. So in our Lagos Innovate program, where we actually support companies or small businesses that are doing things that can be tech-skilled. We're saying so far we've supported 81,000 businesses, and they've done over 2,000 in jobs in the space of less than 18 months.
81,000 businesses.
81 businesses.
81 businesses, and they've done over 2,000 jobs in the tech sector alone.
In that space alone. So directly and indirectly. And without making it sound too, I'll give an example of one of our beneficiaries, what we call urban errands. Because of her tech platform, you can actually request staff to do errands for you anywhere in Lagos State. So she indirectly...
What's the website? We'll like to check that out.
Urban errands.
Just urbanerrands.com?
Yes. Yes, .com. And then we have other people doing like staff boss. You know, they help to empower drivers who, they don't own the asset, but they have drivers that they work in schedules. So there are different models when you look at it, how technology actually helps to increase the capacity for creating jobs in Lagos State. So we do that, and what we do with these businesses is we actually provide workspaces and mentoring programs so that they can do better. We support people in different stages. Sometimes it's idea stage, sometimes you're already in your seed stage where people can invest, and then sometimes you've already raised, you're already in revenue, so you can actually, you're already proven concept. So what we do is just support you to make sure you can do a lot more. We want to make sure that you're not thinking about infrastructure, you're not thinking about broadband, you're not thinking about administration or operation of your business, but you're focusing on the idea that the main thing that you want to do with
How do you
business.
capitalize? You know, you've said 10.1 billion capitalization thus far. But if you constantly think government can, handle capitalization, and it's a long shot, because there's something called donor fatigue. It will set in at some point. So are you partnering with other people to be able to, make your capitalization very robust? Because we've seen the modeling everywhere, and there are grant agencies here and there. Are you looking at partnerships, or do you have existing partnerships like that to increase cap?
Thank you very much. I think, so first, the government has done about 9.7. All the others we've raised either through donor, so some of our partners, the UNDP, GIZ, the German Development Institute, and then private sector. We've also had people come to us with matching fund programs, foundations that want to do they want to support the entrepreneurial ecosystem, but they have limited funds. So they do matching funds for impact. We're doing that. So we've been able to raise funds, not just from government, but also from the private sector and from grant-giving organizations.
Well, I want to talk about defaulters, because even the regular deposit banks are currently dealing and battling with defaulters. What's your defaulters rate? Do you have any, and how do you handle it?
So one of the things that people have seen us do a lot more recently is how to get people who are in default to repay their loans. And now, the small claims court was established recently, which says you can actually file any claims above not more than 5 million naira, and you can get judgment within 60 days. So now we do have some defaults where we're working very aggressively to control that. And
but how is that legal process? I'll take you further there, because I've had to go to court with somebody on a case, and I got a judgment to that effect. And getting a bailiff to be able to effect the judgment, it's been 3 years now. I can't effect that judgment. I don't know.
So I think for us, first of all, one thing that is clear is that the small claims court also has their own performance indications. So like if you're the one wasting time, because they have a 60-day window, they will throw out your case if you're not ready. So we have to be prepared, which means you've done everything the rules present to you. So have you done every other thing? Like, have you given them the demand notice? Are they aware that they're in default? So you need to have made sure you've done all you need to do to take you to the small claims court. But they work effectively, and when they say 60 days, it's really 60 days. So we're hoping, and one of the things we're doing as well is strategically, we're going for people we can enforce judgment first. So if you're actually a business, you have the capacity to pay, but you're unwilling to pay, we want to actually enforce judgment with those kind of people first.
Why do they see it as it is our money, it is taxpayers' money coming back to us? What's their reason?
Dividends of democracy, national cake.
Unfortunately, yes, there's still that bucket of people that think it's still a government thing. And, well...
It's our share of the cake.
Unfortunately. But then we're showing them that this is not about government, it's about really supporting the system. And where people can make good use of that money at that discount, we want it to go to people who are really genuine and can use the money for good.
You said these loans are sector agnostic, but even with agnostics, they still have leanings here and there.
Yeah.
So where do you tend to lean more? And what are the sectors you have done in this 3 years you've been on?
We've done all the sectors, let me just put it that way. So we've done agric, we've done education, we've done creatives, we've done services, we've done arts, we've done almost any sector. But we found that some sectors will do better with job creation, notably education. Now, agric as well, but agric has its own peculiarities that we must fund for. So we have to be designing specifically to fund in that agric space. Creatives definitely are doing a lot with the job creation. So with our skills program, we're able to place more. We do higher percentages in the creative sector than any other sector. Construction, like you mentioned, the real estate, but we are more broad. We do the whole thing around construction. Yeah, so basically a lot of sectors do well. Some we found are not job creating. I'll tell you one.
Is there a chance you...
What was that?
And so one that I think is just very limited is trade, because most times they're just increasing their stock inventory.
Okay. So we're talking about the loans. We've talked about defaulters. The program opens every year?
Yes. So we try to open 4 cycles every year. So
formerly was a monthly cycle?
We tried that for a bit. But now, yeah, so we're currently open to loan programs, and we're taking applications for loans for up to 2 million naira. And it's at the it's the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund, and the website is lsetf.ng, where you can then go through the application process, put your information in, and we'll get back to you.
Have you ever had that site crash? What's the volume you get?
So we already built on purpose, to be fair, but we actually do get volumes. In 30 days, we do not less than 10,000. In 30 days, we do not less than 10,000. When we started, at a point, we got over 40,000. But that one, we left it open for a while and was just doing continuous
What's the window?
Investment. 30 days. So we're going to do 30 days, and we're going to be closing this application cycle on July the 3rd.
Okay, so July the 3rd. So it started...
Monday.
Monday, just Monday here.
Yes.
So you have it open till July the 3rd.
The 3rd, and then we close and we start assessments.
I mean, what's the verification process like? Because a lot of people too will say, hey, you might have leanings here and there, and people are considered. Who are your... I'm sure you've got independent people that look at this. So what's the process like?
I think the first thing we try to tell people, you don't need to know anybody. We go through, when you apply online, we don't even see your application because it goes straight to PwC, they're the assessment partners. And then it's until PwC says, you know what, we want to recommend these ones for disbursement. We then conduct an interview, physical interview. When we finish the physical interview and you go through that and you pass, we were sure that you really run the business, not that somebody applied for you. Then we do a physical visit, verification to the business side to show us that this is what you do and this is what you can do with this current site, and it matches what you've said you want the money for. At which point you then go through you get an offer letter, and you must go through a training program, which is capacity development. Once you do that, and you then meet all the conditions precedent, you will get your loan. Normally, we try to run within every quarter. Disbursements, application to disbursements is every quarter.
So when do you pay back once the loan hits the account? Once you get the alert?
And then, so for us now, it's structured around how long you need the money for. Before we cap it, the maximum you can take the loan for is 36 months. But we cap it as long as we know that you only need it for 12 months. You would not get it for more than 12 months because we won't be able to do it for a lot more businesses. And we can only do that when people are paying back. Some people will get 24 months, especially where they're going to be doing equipment. And it takes some time for the equipment to come in. You get a moratorium if you're doing equipment so that you can have enough time for your equipment to come in, you install, and start production.
I want to talk about accessing these loans because it's not free. There's
No.
an interest rate. But also, what do I need? Collateral? Do I have to have my great-great-grandmother's tooth to access, for instance, the amount? Because you said there's a different bucket for each loan.
So one of the things we've done is to make sure that we make it accessible. And that's what is important. Is accessible, is affordable. And what we do is, you don't need collateral, but you need social collateral, which is a guarantor. So somebody must be able to stand to say, look, I know you, I know your business, and for character, I can vouch. If he doesn't pay, I will take up the responsibility. So that's what we do at the LSCTF. We expect you to have your LASRA, which shows that you are actually resident in Lagos State. We want you to be tax registered because this is taxpayers' money. You need to be paying your tax as well. Generally, those are the main things you need to be able to provide. Then, of course, go through the application process. Provide your BVN, because those are the kind of things that give you credibility. You exist. And the form is online. You fill all your information in, and then we take it from there. But we don't ask for the ears or the nose and all of that.
because we see there are, and I'm sure you people have started getting this, people that mentor prospective businesses. So do you have like a standardized mentoring hub for prospective businesses?
So currently now we have a mentoring program, and it's actually really voluntary, where people actually then can mentor businesses that exist. So what we're looking for is people with experience that can mentor upcoming businesses.
Okay.
That's what we do. We have it. We don't have it on a platform. It's more physical for now because we're hoping the relationships will grow and people can then use that, take advantage of those relationships.
Well, because someone like me, I would love to be an LSCTF mentor.
Oh, we're happy to welcome you on board. I will reach out on Monday, definitely. Sorry, tomorrow is Thursday. I will reach out on Thursday. We'll be happy to have you.
Let's talk about the employability support program. Yes. I think that's one arm of the the fund. How many people do you really place on jobs? How many people do you have? What is the employability skills you're teaching them?
Okay, so for example, with them, on construction, in the employability space, we're doing things around assistant masonry. We're doing, in hospitality, we're doing food and beverage waiters. We're doing caregivers, healthcare. So what we're saying is we're certifying people so that you can be comfortable when you are not around for caregiving. We're making sure that for your artisans, your masons, they know what it means. They're not just there putting block and cement. They understand what they're doing, literally. And we're able to do so. And then today we've been able to train about 3,800, but close to 4,000. There's some people in training. And we've been able to place about 57% in jobs. So what we start with is the industry. Where are the areas you need people? What skills do you need? We take those requests, then train people to match them into those jobs. Of course, we also do things around beauty, but for placements, not for people, not yet in that entrepreneurial space. But recently we signed with the USADF, that's the United States African Development Foundation. And it's the same employability program, but they want to, what that particular program is going to be focused more on is how to make sure they get the training, they get the apprenticeship, and they can even start off on their own at the maximum after 12 months of being on the program.
I just wanted to ask, most of the infrastructure being done by Lagos State, do some of this your people, your trainees, partake in them? I mean, when you see LSDPC homes, for instance, you wonder, why those from LST have not building those homes?
So one thing is with the JV partners who are building the LSDPC homes. Sites will be used, for example, for training, because our trainings are 70% practical. They'll be having internships on the sites that they're being trained, and then we're hoping that they're more seasoned. Right now, we've done it with mostly private sector sites, where we've actually gone to sites. We had good interest from even our current contractors that were doing, like Planet 44, Planet Projects. We had people, they were interested in doing those trainings on sites. But we wanted more experience around like residential building, commercial buildings. Those are kind of things we're hoping to be able to do with the LSDPC going forward.
And what is the role of, just quickly, what's the real role of Lagos Innovates in the grand plan of making Lagos a mega city? Is there like a connection? And because I know Lagos Innovates is just one part of all of this in this grand plan, and what's the long view for Lagos Innovates?
So one of the good things about Lagos Innovates is, of course, we also do what we call like hackathons. To solve the problems. And I'll tell you two we've already done. One is Secure Lagos, and the second one was how to help micro businesses collect their money and also be able to pay without the hassle of carrying cash. That, on the Secure Lagos, we came up, the people who won the hackathon did a thing about detecting flood really quickly and how to be able to minimize the effect of flooding in Lagos. So for Lagos Innovates, we're not just looking at supporting the entrepreneurial ecosystem, quite all right, but how do we solve for problems in not just a product service? How do we solve processes? How do we hack for innovative processes that can help create solutions for government, the private sector, anywhere, so that we're actually then improving, what we have in Lagos at the moment, and then becoming the 21st century that is tech-enabled.
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned working with the new government, because one problem we have seen is the continuity, even though government's supposed to be continuum. So there's no fear of the outgone governor, Amber Day's project is terminated by the current governor, Jide Sanwo-Olu. So there's that reassurance that this fund is going to continue.
I think so. And then one of the things, I know so. Because this is,
she knows so.
Because it's relevant, it's useful, and it's helping develop the whole system in a very strategic manner. So beyond even, I believe beyond even the Sanwo-Olu government, the LSCTF will still be relevant. Because what you're doing is you're supporting people to create jobs. You're supporting people's livelihoods. You're not, the impact on the economy is there. People are paying tax. There's a good impact you can tell with what the LSCTF is doing. So yes, we would exist beyond even the Sanwo-Olu government, I'm sure about it.
All right, another thing comes to mind. This expenditure, 9.1 billion, 10.1 billion already. This was talked about interest rate in them. Because we also know that LSCTF, for it to run effectively, has to be sort of like a business model.
Yes.
So how do you recoup and also get interest being paid to be able to service more and sustain? And what's the interest rate like?
So today we run at 5%. Okay. Which
single digits.
Single digits, very important, because look, for these small businesses to even, if they're working at 31%, 24%, there's no incentive to keep the business going. They literally are working to service their loans. So the government is taking a cut on that because what's happening is it's subsidized. The cost of even writing those loans is much more than 5%. But what the government is saying is, if this is relevant and important to make small businesses thrive, how do we help micro and small businesses to do much more? Because look, at the end of the day, what we found is some people were only even helping them to be financially included. They then have a credit history. Then they can go to normal commercial banks. We're happy to play in that middle space where we're saying we'll take more risk, lower the interest rate so that you can actually then get into a business and be a thriving business. And see when you now need to do a lot more and need much more than what we're able to offer, you can go for a commercial rate.
Very quickly before we go, just how can you access, what's your website again, because we need to go.
Okay, so it's LSETF, lsetf.ng, www.lsetf.ng, and all the information is there.
Thank you so much, Teju Abisoye.
Thank you,
It's been a pleasure.
Really appreciate it.
It's been
Thank
a
you so
pleasure.
much.